What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some big news going on here as we grow more and more likely that we will see a government shutdown. This comes here as former President Donald Trump calls for the Republicans to do a government shutdown. Also, we'll cover in this video, Biden administration eyes banning medical debt in credit reports. Cover that here in a moment. Trump, who actually had the longest government shutdown in history during his administration. I'm not sure if I was aware of that, but this is the headline. You can see it right here. Calls on Republicans to let it happen again now in 9 days or less, depending on when you're watching this video, so they can defund, this is a quote from him, defund these political prosecutions against me. Quote directly from Trump. Trump says here, former President Donald Trump, who led a 35-day shutdown in 2019, not that long ago, is suggesting Republicans should let it happen again. On Wednesday night, Trump took to his social media site, Truth Social, to offer advice to Republican lawmakers. If Congress doesn't reach an agreement on funding before September 30th, the federal government will shut down. And with that deadline just 9 days or less away, the GOP has yet to find a viable solution to keep the government funded. Trump says here, quote, a very important deadline is approaching at the end of the month. Republicans in Congress can and must defund all aspects of crooked Joe Biden's weaponized government that refuses to close the border and treats half the country as enemies of the state. This is also the last chance to defund these political prosecutions against me and other patriots. They failed on the debt limit, but they must not fail now, saying to create a government shutdown. Use the power of the purse and defend the country, saying create a government shutdown. Senator Rand Paul says he will hold up any spending stopgap that includes Ukraine funding. Remember that all the money, basically all the money that has went to Ukraine has been approved by Congress, both Republicans and Democrats. Remember that. So when you see Republican senators saying this, it's important. Republican Senator Rand Paul says here on Twitter, today I'm putting congressional leadership and POTUS, President of the United States, on notice that I will oppose any effort to hold the federal government hostage for Ukraine funding. I'm not sure about his wording there, but I will not consent to expedited passage of any spending measure that provides any more U.S. aid to Ukraine. On the other hand, the alternative could potentially mean letting Putin win and take over country after country after country in Europe and Russia. That is, well, the other side of the coin here. Meanwhile, Republican leadership tells members to go home, but be on call amid government funding stalemate. Yeah, take a listen to what happened here.
Today, another bitter rebuke for Kevin McCarthy, whose attempt to push forward a military funding bill was rejected for the second time this week by a handful of ultra-conservative members. The embattled speaker claims progress is being made to avert a government shutdown 9 days from now. But as the Associated Press puts it, he's saying that with no clear strategy, no sure support, and not much time left. Complicating matters, Donald Trump, who last night demanded the GOP, quote, defund all aspects of crooked Joe Biden's weaponized government. So the bind so tight, some Republicans are making Cold War comparisons.
The shutting of the government down, everyone loses. That's mutually assured destruction, and we need to avoid that at all costs.
We lapse in appropriations. A whole lot of very important things with the U.S. government begin a process of shuttering their services. and it will impact people. It will impact a lot of people. Even people that don't think it impacts them, it will impact.
NBC's Garrett Hake is on the Hill for us. So where do things stand right now, Garrett?
Yeah, Chris, other than that, things are going great. I mean, look, this vote that failed today is extra frustrating for House Republicans because this isn't even a vote that they need to keep the government open in the short term. It was meant to be a non-controversial vote on something just to show that they can pass basic bills. And the Speaker thought it had all been negotiated. They were behind closed doors for more than 2 hours yesterday afternoon trying to hammer out a path forward. Then they came to this. You can hear the disappointment in the Speaker's voice when he addressed reporters after walking off the floor a short time ago. Listen to this, Chris.
It's frustrating in the sense that I don't understand why anybody votes against bringing the idea and having the debate. And then you've got all the amendments if you don't like the bill. This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down. That doesn't work. Look, I know it's an obstacle, but I find it as a challenge, and we're going to solve it.
Chris, the Speaker's only half right. This isn't a new concept, but this is the first time we've had those kind of legislative nihilists, the people who want to burn the place down, in the majority when there is such a small margin that their votes matter on everything. That's the challenge for McCarthy, and it's not clear today that he's any closer to solving it than he was yesterday. Now, he's threatened to keep members here through the weekend to keep voting, but on what is the question right now, because they don't have the votes to pass the messaging bill that they're trying to do, much less what they'll need to pass to ultimately keep the government open beyond the end of next week.
Also, the Biden administration eyes banning medical debt in credit reports. You could let me know your thoughts on this. Medical debt would be scrubbed from consumers' credit reports under a proposal financial regulators are considering, an effort to aid millions of U.S. households grappling with hefty, outstanding bills. The U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau said Thursday it's starting to fashion a rule that would ban credit reporting companies from including the debt, while also stopping lenders from considering it when deciding whether to allow a consumer to borrow. The rule would also halt coercive repayment practices, according to the CFPB statement on Thursday. Research shows that medical bills have little predictive value in credit decisions, yet tens of millions of American households are dealing with medical debt on their credit report, the CFPB director said. Medical debt in the U.S. has swelled in recent years, with a March 2022 report indicating that approximately 20% of U.S. households have reported having it in some form. 20% would be over 60 million Americans. The report was the agency's first in which it publicly considered such debt, and they said at the time that medical billing process in the U.S. often leaves consumers in a doom loop. Billing can be chaotic, insurance payouts can be slow, and debt collectors may not have sufficient documentation to even know if the reported debt is correct. They said debt collectors can often use the threat of a hit to a person's credit report, which can increase interest rates they pay on mortgages, car loans, and other credit, as if interest rates aren't high enough, and even make it harder to get a job or rental housing to get them to pay the debt the person may not even owe. The report found that medical obligations made up around 58% of all uncollected debt reported to consumer credit reporting bureaus. The White House has shown interest in the topic, and the CFPB has continued to look at it since 2022. The Consumer Watchdog Agency requested information in July on medical payment options such as credit cards to learn more about how prevalent the sometimes harmful products are and what damage it can inflict on consumers. Access to healthcare should be a right, not a privilege, just for those who can afford it. And that is a tricky thing because healthcare is literally your health, your life. That's a tough one, you know? And it's like, should you not have access to healthcare if you just because you don't have money? It's a tough one. This comes from Vice President Kamala Harris told reporters on a call announcing the Biden administration's efforts. The 3 consumer credit bureaus mentioned this, headed off to regulators by proactively removing more than 70% of existing medical debt entries on credit reports. But eliminating all of it could make it harder for lenders, landlords, and others to have a full picture of a potential borrower, employees, or tenant creditworthiness, debt collectors and credit reporting groups say. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. We are like the only country that actually has this type of debt system with medical and not even having the right to health care like this. Other countries are definitely not like this, where you can literally go bankrupt because of your health. You get a medical condition, you can go bankrupt, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe. It's completely free to do so. You won't go bankrupt on that. And I'll keep you up to date here. Click here to see the potential return of $2 gas, or click here to see the Fed's new massive decision. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.